This video will show you how to lay landscaping blocks in your yard. I will show you from start to finish. This is the finished product of what you will see in this video. Around this tree, the previous owner had planted ivy and it was overtaking the ground and the tree. I will follow up with some pictures of what it looked like before we started the project. This is the completed project after all the ivy was removed, and the landscaping stones were also removed due to improper installation. Before we removed the landscaping stones, most of them were completely underground or just barely flush with the surface, and there was no sense of level to any part of it. This will serve as a very easy do-it-yourself project on the weekends. Here's a list of items that I'm going to be using for doing the circles around the trees. Because I'm doing such a small area, I don't need to go out and buy a huge truckload of pea gravel, so I bought individual bags for $3 a piece. Also, I grabbed 3 bags of play sand. I have 6 bags of mulch. You can use rocks, you can use mulch, you can use whatever you want. But after I have my blocks in place, I'm going to fill it in with mulch to make it look good. Some of the tools required will be a rubber mallet, an 8-inch level, a 4-foot level. You will also need an 8x8 tamper and a pick and possibly a shovel for what you are working on. Alright, so at this step I have already marked out my circle for where the blocks are going to go and dug down approximately 2 inches so that I can put an inch of pea gravel down and an inch of sand to help me level out the blocks. My next step will be to add the rocks and tamper them down to where there is approximately 1 inch. One thing you want to make sure that you do is that you spread the rocks wider than your blocks are going to be and make it thicker than 1 inch, because once you start tampering them down, they're going to disappear. You might have to repeat this step a couple times in order to get the appropriate thickness that you need. After the rocks are laid down, you want to start tampering it down and making a good solid base. One step that I like to do as I'm going along with the gravel is place my stones about every 3 to 4 feet so that I can set up the level, check and see if I'm going level or not, because your eye is not going to be as good as the level is. So right here I got my block set up, and I'm going to go around and use the level to check out all the different angles to make sure that I am level. Next, you want to apply the sand in the exact same method that you applied the rocks. Here I've got the sand all tampered down. All my high spots that I missed previously are all nice and flat and level. And my next step is going to be laying down the blocks one by one, checking to see if it's level. So I've already started laying down the circle with all the stones. I've got more than half the circle done. Now I'm going to show you the way I find it easiest to actually lay down the stones. Since we have the sand is an automatic leveler. It's a self-leveler, so it makes it a whole lot easier and easy to move if you put enough sand down. So all I'm going to do is butt this up. As you can see, the top is higher because there's a lip on the back of it for stacking and staggering it. And I just pound down the back half. Make sure it's lined up, and then I put my level on there. Make sure it's all cleared off. I see the front's a little bit too high. So, just drop down the front, just a hair. It's a little perfect. Go left or right. It's a little high over here. But what I like to do when I get two pieces, since I'm only doing one row, it's not a big deal. But for people with doing two rows, this makes it so much easier. Stick the block on it again, on top. You'll notice there's a little bit of, not much movement, but there's a little bit of play. And then I just use it to help pack it down the rest of the way. This way your first stones don't have to be perfect when you're doing multiple layers, and now there's like no play to it. Then when you stick your level crosswise up, it shows level. You rotate this over so you can see that. If you're going to need to cut any parts of your blocks, you are going to need a chisel for cutting masonry, and I highly recommend a 5-pound hammer. In order to make the cut correctly, you want to measure where you want it and mark it out on the block with a pencil. Hammer little grooves into the blocks until you have a nice little V in the block. You flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. Once you have nice grooves, that will be the weakest part for the block to break. I will show you on this one how I do it. Now that I have the V clearly visible and marked up, you want to put the finished side up on top. Once you put the finished side on top, it should only be a couple hard hammers and it should break apart. I only used a single layer of blocks, but if you were to use multiple layers, I highly recommend using a masonry glue or adhesive to hold them together. This will make them last a whole lot longer in place. I was able to do this project in approximately an hour and a half from start to finish once all the weeds and ivy were pulled out. This will serve as a very easy do-it-yourself project on the weekends. Hey guys, thanks for watching my video. I hope this video will help you be able to do your own landscaping projects in the future. This was just a basic how-to video on a project that I had to redo from somebody else's screw-ups. So if you got any questions or comments, please leave a comment down below, and check out some of my other videos by clicking right here. Thanks for watching.